Let's take a look at Friday as the NBA comes back from Thanksgiving with 11 games on. An early preview. Michael Bolton, sorry to cut into your time.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and it is me who pioneered LED headlights. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We're available on all platforms, and we are part of the #1 sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. So thank you for making us #1. Guys, we're here to look at the games for Friday. I'm doing this a little bit earlier than I normally would because there's a day off coming, and yes, there's no Thanksgiving here for us, but it's still a day off, and I've worked 30 days in a row, so I'm just good to get a day off. Happy with that. Well, it's not actually a day off because it's obviously my second show for today, but I want to get it out of the way so I can enjoy the day off. There you go. Let's talk about what we know for the games coming up. Where we sit, what statuses need to be updated. Teams will be a little bit lax in providing injury reports today as well, given that it's Thanksgiving for those people putting out the press releases as well. So one thing we do know is that we do have 11 games on, and weirdly, for whatever reason, again, someone's going to tell me it's some random reason that's not true, but the games don't start until 7:30 p.m. Now it is, I believe it's the final NBA Cup game day. Therefore, in the next coming weeks, we're going to have NBA Cup knockout stages, which means the schedule is going to be unresolved because we don't know who's playing on which day. So be aware of that week 7, week 8, that you're going to have those scenarios arriving because this is the final game before the knockout stages begin. But the games start at 7:30. And we have all of the games, I believe, 6 games, all starting at 7:30 p.m. All of the Eastern Conference games starting at 7:30. Then we've got 3 games starting at whatever time that is. Let me work that out. 2 hours later, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And then we've got 2 more of those at 10 p.m. Eastern. The games are Wizards, Pacers, Bulls, Hornets, Sixers, Nets, Cavs, Hawks, Magic, Pistons, Bucks, Knicks. All of those start at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Then you've got Suns, Thunder. We've got Spurs, Nuggets, and then we've got Suns, Thunder, Kings, Jazz, Spurs, Nuggets, Mavericks, Lakers, Grizzlies, Clippers as your final games of the day. So a pretty busy schedule. Let's take a look at the individual games and what we do and don't know and the things we need to be aware of and ready and prepared for. The first game is Wizards Pacers. One thing that's going to be important there is the status of Keyshawn George, who missed the last game with an illness. I think that he will be okay, but we need to watch that. Marvin Bagley, obviously for deeper leagues, him being out would mean that Tristan Vukcevic moves into that backup role. The Bulls and the Hornets is the second game of the day. We'll talk about this in a second, but you're going to see a lot of these sort of players listed questionable. You say, why are they questionable? Well, LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller are questionable because this is the first of a back-to-back for Charlotte. I think they play on Friday, but they're going to probably sit. And Miller, I'm not even sure about. But there's a chance that they sit one on Friday or Saturday. For the Bulls, Kevin Huerter's missed the last couple of games. Isaac Okoro's missed the last couple of games. And Vooch missed the last game. I'm going to put them all as questionable. Obviously, absences from all of those players boost the other remaining guys. So Jalen Smith, Patrick Williams, Trey Jones gets boosts in those scenarios depending on Huerter, Okoro, and Vucevic's absences. You've got Dalen Terry in there as well as a questionable tagged player. Clearly, with the Hornets, if you've got to have Ball and Miller out, you're going to get more for Sexton, more for the big Areola Concanipple, more for Sion James in that spot as well. The Sixers and the Nets is the next one, and there are 3 massive ones, 4 if you want to include a massive boner in there as well. Statuses for Philadelphia. Oubre's out, but VJ Edgecombe, Joel Embiid, and Paul George are currently listed questionable. Well, listed by me. Edgecombe's missed the last 2, Embiid's missed the last 10 million, and George missed the last game with an ankle sprain. I think Embiid plays in this game. Edgecombe and George, I really don't know, but obviously those guys being out and the fact that we know that Trenton Watford is out, if George and Edgecombe are out, you're going to get a lot more for Don Barlow, you're going to get more for Quentin Grimes in that spot as well. And if Embiid is out, obviously you get more Drummond. If Embiid plays, you hold on to Drummond still and you see how the minutes go. And then Boner coming back doesn't really matter because he's not starting over Drummond, but the only reason you'd care about Boner is if Embiid is out and Boner is in and then he's a backup. But yeah, not much to care about there. Cavs and Hawks, we are getting closer to a Trae Young return. I don't think it's going to be happening here in this one. Jarrett Allen missed the last few for Cleveland, so we don't know about him. Craig Porter's dealing with a hamstring. I don't think he's going to be available. And Sam Merrill and Dean Wade I'm listing as questionable. Darius Garland and DeAndre Hunter, on the other hand, I'm listing as probable because the game they missed, which was the last one, was the second of a back-to-back. So that was just rest. So they should be available and ready to go here for this one. The Magic and the Pistons is the next game. Paolo Banchero is expected to still be sidelined. He might return in one of the next couple of games, but we don't know yet. And John Isaac should be available for Orlando. Bucks and Knicks up next. We don't have OG Anunoby. I don't expect Kevin Porter Jr. to be available here, while Yanni was listed questionable for their game on Wednesday. So I'm going to put him questionable again on Friday. He does seem to be coming back slightly early from a groin strain. I guess there's a possibility that Giannis Antetokounmpo plays on Friday, but I believe there's a back-to-back for Milwaukee, so I think that it's probably more likely that he's available on Saturday, but we'll see what they decide to do with that one. The next game as we move into the Western Conference games is Phoenix and Oklahoma City. I don't expect Jalen Williams to play. I don't expect Grayson Allen to play, although Jordan Ott said at some point on the weekend he could come back. I'm not going to count Friday night as the weekend. Maybe Jordy does. I don't know. But I don't think Allen plays there. The other one that's going to be important is Ryan Dunn, because we can talk about Jalen Green being out. We can talk about Grayson Allen being out, really helping Colin Gillespie. Dunn being out also helps. Not that Dunn coming back is going to necessarily destroy what Gillespie does, but Dunn coming back, and then when Allen comes back, it will have an impact. Aaron Wiggins has been out for weeks. We've had zero update on that. And then Mark Williams I'm listing as questionable because it is a back-to-back for Phoenix. So, Williams, as always, on a back-to-back, you've got to be concerned as to which game he does or doesn't play. The Kings and the Jazz is the next one. Dennis Schroeder missed the last game for Sacramento with a hip issue. No real word whether he's going to be in or out, while Kevin Love missed the last game for Utah due to it being a back-to-back, so he should be available and ready to go. Spurs Nuggets, Steph Castle is expected to still remain out. Jordan McLaughlin questionable, Julian Strouder questionable on Denver side. We know that Gordon and Brown remain sidelined for them. DeAndre Ayton, again, much like the way that Jordan Ott spoke about Grayson Allen, JJ Redick spoke about DeAndre Ayton, saying that he could be available on the weekend. Does Friday count? I don't know. I'm listing him doubtful for this one, and it does appear that I guess we're getting pretty close to Anthony Davis returning, so I'm putting him as questionable. We know that Derek Lively will be out. And the next game of the day is the final game of the day. The Grizzlies and the Clippers. Jordan Miller will be out. Demetrius Morant we expect to be out. And then I've got Kawhi as questionable because it is the first of a back-to-back and I just don't know which one he plays. Whereas Bogdan Bogdanovic has missed a couple of games and his absence helps guys like Chris Dunn step up into a larger role. But not that we care that much about Dunn or even Bogdanovic for most fantasy leagues at this point. And that is all the games. That's the 11 games. We're going to come back and talk schedule stuff in a second. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by DoorDash. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep you guys in your bag all season long. You might be watching for your favorite fantasy player. What is Colonel Kobe Sanders going to do for the Clippers? You might be watching your favorite team. Maybe that's the Clippers. You might be watching highlights of the Clippers. Or you might be just watching your favorite player, someone that plays for the Clippers. DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they are celebrating with something called the bag drop. And every time an NBA player scores 50 points or more in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. It's player-inspired drip gear that you want, exclusive stuff, all from DoorDash. DoorDash has you covered for late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and double OT fuel-ups. So the next time that someone goes off for 50, use the promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass, plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with the promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April the 13th. Open to US residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashinyourbag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. We are talking about the games coming up for, what day is it in the NBA? It is Friday. 11 games are on. Let's take a look at the ways that we can maximize things with the schedule for the upcoming period of time. Now, there are a lot of teams playing a back-to-back. 10 of the 22 teams that are in action on Friday, and this happens when you don't have games on Thursday, but 10 of those teams are in the first night of a back-to-back. Brooklyn. Don't think there's a worry with Michael Porter, but you got to watch it. Charlotte. So LaMelo Ball, less so Brandon Miller, maybe even the big Colk, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Chicago. Does it bother? Well, Vooch missed the last game. Is his knee too sore to play the back-to-back? I don't think so, but we watch it. The Dallas Mavericks. Anthony Davis is going to return. He's not going to play both games, though, so we watch that one. Denver. No real worry there. Detroit. Not considerably worried. Maybe Jaden Ivey probably doesn't play both those games, so you're going to get, 15 minutes in 2 games out of Jaden Ivey? Not good. Indiana and the Clippers also have their back-to-back, so obviously significant risk there with Kawhi Leonard. Not that worried with Pacers guys. And then Milwaukee and Phoenix. Giannis and Mark Williams. Almost certainly missing one of those 2 games, and Giannis could miss both of them. So a lot of back-to-back options that it could open up for us, but also a lot to pay attention to when considering whether you stream guys in or not. The next part of the schedule is looking at chunks. It's looking at the next 5 days and what days are streamable and who has the value there. Now, Friday through to Tuesday is 5 days, but Friday is an 11-game day. Now, I am going to go through streams of the day for Friday, but I'm also going to work under the assumption that majority of you cannot stream on Friday. Some of you can. Go check your roster. Have a look at how it looks. Some of you will be able to do it. Some of you will not. But I'm just for the general principle of doing this show, I don't count Friday as a streaming day. Meaning, which teams play bulk games in the other 4 days? And there are a few of them that play 3. The New Orleans Pelicans. So even though we don't like Jeremiah Fears at this point as a long-term hold, I don't like Sadiq Bey as a long-term hold. With 3 games on 4 low-volume days coming up in the next 5 days, with the absence of Herb Jones and Jordan Poole and DeJounte Murray, both Fears and Bey have value if you want to maximize in that short term. Jacoby Walter, he's played 30 minutes last game. I don't know if he's going to do that every game, but we know that Rowan Barrett is going to miss these games. And the Raptors play 3 games in 4 nights, not including Friday. One exception to this is Moses Moody. We know that Steph Curry has this quad contusion. He'll be out at least a week. Not good news. So the value of these Warriors, like Moses Moody, Brandon Pajemski, less so Willie Dick, Will Richard, but their value rises enough that where 2 games in 4 nights is probably enough for Moody to be considered an ad and Pajemski to be considered an ad. With Steph out, there are minutes and usage and touches to go around for both of those players, Moody and Pajemski, that for 12-team leagues, they are worth looking at. And then the last one there is, again, it's not exciting, but you might get 60 minutes of Josh Minott on low-volume days. And Minott might get you 30 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 5 threes, maybe. It's lower league stuff, obviously. But when we talk about utilizing a spot for streaming, when we talk about maxing games out versus do I hold someone that might be the 120th best player all season, or do I turn that spot into 3 games in 4 nights with 1 move? Well, that is what we're talking about. So on the surface, comparing Josh Minott to, let's say Dennis Schroeder, right? Who's a guy that I don't think is being a top 100 guy, might be the 130th best player. He's currently injured, but ignore that part of it. Like, would getting 1 game from Schroeder be worth it, or to be turning that into 3 games on low volume days be more useful? And even though straight up comparing Minott to Schroeder, you'll take Schroeder, the games played part of it, stacking that stuff up in a league where you can do that becomes important and becomes a winning strategy. If we look at 5s and 2s, we've been doing a lot of 5s and 2s. We do it every show, obviously. But there's been a lot of teams showing up that have played 2 games in 7 nights with low schedules. We haven't had a busy schedule period for a while. We got one now. Starting Friday through to next Thursday, the Brooklyn Nets play 5 games in 7 nights. So I said earlier they've got a Friday, Saturday back-to-back, which is true, they do. And I said I don't think there's much risk there of someone resting like Michael Porter Jr. But towards the end of this 5-game in 7-night run, and obviously when you play 5 games in 7 nights, maybe it's not obvious, but you have to play multiple sets of back-to-backs. There's no other way to do it. You can only do it, really, I think you can only do it one way, actually, if I think about it. I think you have to play 2 sets of back-to-backs. You got to go back-to-back rest, single game rest, back-to-back, or back-to-back rest, back-to-back rest, single game. I think it's the only way you can do it. Anyway, who cares? You have 2 sets of back-to-backs in 7 days. So maybe towards the middle or end of this streak, someone like Michael Porter Jr. or maybe Nick Claxton sits one of the games. Otherwise, though, if you are considering, hey, I'm going to hold on to Yegor Yeoman, I'm going to take a flyer on Tyrese Martin because I hate myself, I'm going to really commit to Noah Clowney, which you should. You've got the basis of big volume games. Now, nobody plays 2 games over the next 7 nights. The lowest amount of games is 3. If you have a discrepancy where someone's playing 5 and someone's playing 2, dropping a fringe 2-game guy to get a fringe 5-game guy makes a million times of sense, which is not actually a real phrase. But 5 to 3 less so, still important though. And you've got a few of these Nets randos that you can maybe chuck in a deep league, like a Drake Powell who's playing 20 minutes a night, 100 minutes over a week, versus a fringe guy in a three-game week. Obviously not as useful. So that's what we're talking about. We should look at streams of the day. Yeah, let's go in and look at the streams of the day. And again, this stuff will change when we get some more injury updates and some other players will jump into these slots. But currently, as it stands, Isaiah Jackson for 10-team leagues. Do I love Isaiah Jackson? Not really. And would I prefer J Huff? Yeah. But J Huff is at 71% rostered using Basketball Monsters numbers, and I use a 60% cutoff for my 10-team stream of the day. So yeah, Huff is the guy if he's available. But he's not. So Jackson had a pretty good game last time out, and he's at least useful here. DeAndre Ayton, I'm expecting to be out. So Jackson Hayes is a 12-team stream. In 14-teamer, Juice McBride played 39 minutes last game. He didn't get many shots or do a huge amount, but those minutes are incredibly important. So he's worth it. And then for deeper leagues, 16-team and above, the big sneeze, Precious Achiuwa. He didn't play the 30 minutes like he did the game before, but he played more than Drew Eubanks. He played over 20. And in deep formats, I like using Achiuwa in that spot. For Yahoo points, these guys are all 70% plus available. Bilal Coulibaly is actually 79% available on Yahoo. And as much as I don't like Bilal moving forward, and I'm not a huge must-roster Bilal guy, especially in points, he's an excellent stream for a day like Friday. And in ESPN, he still sits at 21% rostered. It is Yusuf Nurkic, who I know it's easier to say that he's a bad finishing big man, and he is. And he has been that for historically. His field goal percentage over the last week or so is actually up. It's actually not too bad. And that is important in ESPN leagues as well, for points leagues. So have a look at Yusuf Nurkic as an option there to stream in and even hold in an ESPN points league for the Steve Kerr foreseeable future. We're going to come back and look at more streaming, guys. Today's episode, though, it is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there is no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game or you want to jump in and ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live betting from everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It makes you excited for every game to track what you're doing, to pay attention to the skills that you've acquired over many years of being able to bet live in a game and maybe even combine some parlays to see what happens. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, we're talking daily look ahead here for Black Friday. And we might as well get into this to talk about more of the streams, the 10 teams, the 12 teams, the deep leagues, the points stream options for the day. Your 10-team streaming list. I already said that Isaiah Jackson's on this list. Jackson Hayes is on this list. A lot of Jacksons there. Juice McBride is there. Malik Monk has been dropped in enough leagues where he becomes a very solid option. Now, we just never know what the Kings are going to do. But if Dennis Schroeder is out, Monk's value rises and becomes probably the top of this list. And then Jalen Smith is on this list because even if Vooch plays, Smith was doing enough to be considered. And if Vooch is out, I would hope that they give 27 to Smith and we get some pretty good numbers. So you will notice also that there is, in all these shows that we do, all of these streaming shows that we do, these look-ahead shows that we do, there's always a bunch of centers. Jackson Hayes, Isaiah Jackson, Jalen Smith, Ryan Kalkbrenner's available, Moussa Diabate's available. There's centers everywhere. There's always just, they're not great, but there's always something that you can sort of stream in with a center at some point. It always seems to happen that somebody becomes available. Less so with like assist guys and point guards and big scoring wings. They're not as easy to come by. 12-team streamers always peruse that first list and then go to this one because the national tile, Jarris Walker. Hello! He's been great the last 2 games. I don't I don't really trust it. But what I do believe is that considering how well he has played, he will get the nod as a starter and he will play close to 30 minutes. And if he just shoots like decently, it might be enough. I've got the big sneeze, Precious Achiuwa on the 12-team list. I've got Tristan Da Silva in Orlando, who has been hit or miss, but I still like the stream value. I've got Chris Dunn on the list. If Bogdan Bogdanovic is out, Dunn's value rises. He had his first really good game last time out. Every other game has been pretty mid, but he's worth looking at. And then there's Jaeger Dielman, who, I don't know, man. He's been so bad, and then he has the random good one. He has two good ones in a row, and you get back involved. I do not believe in him long-term this season. I've made my determination on that. That could change when we get through to January or something. But for now, the schedule works, and the streaming on Friday makes a little bit of sense, even though I don't like him as a hold. For deeper leagues, we can look at all those 10 names I've already referenced. But then we can also talk about Day'Ron Sharpe. We can talk about the guy that's just not rostered anywhere, Justin Champagnie in Washington, because Trey Johnson is out. Corey Kispert is out. Now, they do play slightly different positions, but this team has no power forwards. They've got no centers, really. So they're playing a lot of guys out of position, meaning everyone needs to push up. So Kispert was playing a lot of the 3 with some of the 4. So Champagnie is going to have to fill in more minutes here. Chris Middleton has been pretty good the last couple of games. I might even push Middleton into a 12-team stream option. You got Ben Shepherd, who he's usually bad, but again, we're just talking about a guy who might play 27 minutes on this Pacers team. And then lastly, Bruce Brown Jr. for Denver, whose opportunity is there. He's not really delivering all the time, but the role is solid enough that occasionally you're going to get one from Brucey that pops off. If we go into Points League stream, you're going to go to Yahoo, and we're going to look at all guys who are 70% available or more. So Bilal Coulibaly is there. Now, I talked about Jay Huff for category leagues, how he's 71% rostered on Basketball Monster. He is not on Yahoo. He's available in nearly every spot. Now, of course, there's a bunch of dead leagues there. And if you're a double Onyx, Diamond, Titanium, Platinum legend, Huff was picked up before he was even born. But now, you can have a look at him, and I would be grabbing him. His value is higher in category leagues and points leagues, absolutely, but he's a good stream option here. Timothy John McConnell's probably a must-add in category leagues. It is hard to fully buy it, but he played 24 minutes last game. That's all I really needed to say. Brandon Williams, yeah, he could be annoying, but I like it here. And then Noah Clowney just is a must-roster player. And he's still available somehow in 70+% of leagues. Should just go and add him. I don't know why he's sitting there. For ESPN leagues, Yusuf Nurkic remains at the top of this list, followed by Jay Huff, Bilal Coulibaly, Luke Cornett, and the big Colk. Ryan Kalkbrenner is at like 22% or something on ESPN, which again is just incredibly low. Guys, that is a Black Friday post-Thanksgiving preview of Friday's 11 games. Not going to be an easy day to stream. Check whether you can do it or not. I hope you guys are enjoying your day today. I understand this show is coming a little bit early. I'm going to have a bit of a day off, refresh, recharge over the next couple of days. This will be a show coming tomorrow with a preview show for Saturday's games. That'll come out as well. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.